Hello, everyone. I'm Sage Lavelle. Welcome to another Deaf What interview. Welcome Jordan, who is an actor who's involved with 100 Decibels Deaf Mime Troupe. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? Great. Thank you for having me here today. A bit about me, as you've already mentioned, my name is Jordan Sangalang. I'm involved with 100 Decibels Deaf Mime Troupe. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. But here's a bit of background information. I was born and raised in Winnipeg. Then I moved to Florida, then British Columbia, then Washington, D.C., then back here in Winnipeg now. Some friends and family members have asked me, why are you back to living in the cold weather after living in warm weather in Florida? I guess it's just my hometown, coming back to where I came from. It's close to my heart. My heart belongs here in Winnipeg. Yeah, I can understand that. I've lived in other places before, but I ended up back in Ontario. It's my home and close to my heart too. Yes. So how did you become an artist? How did you become so engaged with acting? Really, from a young age, I've always wanted to become an actor. But there were no opportunities for me to act. So I put that dream on hold and focused on other things. It was not until I moved back to Winnipeg there was an event that offered mime training. I was like, mime? What is that? The most common imagery of mime that comes up is a person wearing white gloves, wearing white face paint, and trapping themselves in a box. Once I participated in the training and learned more, I realized it was more than just that. It was physical sketch comedy. A few deaf people gathered and got mentorship through an experienced teacher. We trained together for about a year. Even though I had training beforehand, the number of deaf people joining expanded. More of us were more serious, focused, and dedicated. Then opportunities began coming in. I went with the flow and have been immersed with acting ever since. That experience opened up other opportunities. I've been able to meet deaf actors across Canada, do more networking, and be involved with the community. Opportunities have extended to the United States as well, which is impressive. I've enjoyed all of this, so that's how I became involved with acting and all of that. Yeah, it's amazing how taking up a class leads to opportunities. Really, I love your work. I'm a fan. How did the workshop lead to the establishment of 100 Decibels? How did we do that? We took a workshop together, went through training, learned some basic skills, comedy, and got familiar with the industry. Learning about the rules of three, learning all of that. Eventually it led up to a discussion with the deaf group who kept coming to the training. At one point, we wondered if we could become more serious with our craft as a business, as professional actors. We collectively agreed that it was possible. Then we just went with it. One of Winnipeg's summer festivals, called the Fringe Festival, we had our first performance, and after that, more opportunities emerged for us to act. It ended up that these deaf actors who showed up had the same goal in mind. That's the influence of 100 Decibels. The goal is simple: connecting the hearing world and the deaf world, bringing them together. There are many hearing people who are curious about the deaf community, what we are up to, what we do. We are more than hearing status. The goal is to show connection, to show our human experience, to show feelings and emotions, to show thoughts and perspectives, showing through the eyes of a deaf person. Shifting perspectives makes the audience laugh because we share the same experiences, and that's how we connect. Absolutely, I'm sure with mime, it's a beautiful thing because you communicate without language, showing through physicality, and with that, it's easier for hearing audiences to understand. It's really fascinating. What's your favorite part about being involved with 100 Decibels? I'm curious. I would say the fact that we are all deaf. We're able to brainstorm ideas through direct communication in American Sign Language. We understand and have empathy for each other. That means we can collaborate by sharing ideas and stories together, then making these ideas come alive, creating a story and building a world together to show it to the hearing world what our lives look like. I think it's cool. One important thing to do is collaborate with hearing mentors to get advice from them, to engage with them, to learn their perspectives. Maybe after rehearsing and performing our show, in their perspective, they may not understand, make sense. And we learn the why. It's art. Original ideas tend to evolve over time in order to become better ideas. So that's a beautiful thing about how we work together while rehearsing and creating. Yes, it's beautiful. Building a world together and getting all of those different perspectives. Wow. So I'm curious, why are you called 100 decibels? Yeah, 100 decibels. As you know, we deaf people don't usually identify with how much we can hear, our hearing abilities. And again, as I recently mentioned, our target audience is hearing people. So we play with words in order to attract them to come to our performances. 100 decibels means something extremely loud, very loud, sound-based. As we've discussed, most deaf people identify as deaf, but some base their hearing status based on the audiogram chart. We laugh, but it is interesting. So of course, it makes the audience think about our name, 100 decibels, which is ironic. As you know, 100 decibels is extremely loud. And at the same time, we do physical theater, which in itself is actually not loud. So that's where the irony comes in play, playing with words. In their experience, when they come to watch us, it's not really loud, and yet at the same time, it's very visual. It has nothing to do with sound. It's a visual world. I love the irony, yeah. So how did the coronavirus impact you as an artist? The coronavirus changed the world, and I would say it's a blessing in disguise. Do you know why? It made us shift our perspectives and our approaches. And with that, we're able to reach a much larger audience. In person, we're only able to bring a local audience in. But with the pandemic, everything moved online. So I think it's a great opportunity to collaborate with more people. New challenges that have emerged alongside new opportunities are working with camera teams, lighting teams, and audiences. This means I have to figure out how to work with camera angles rather than just performing on stage. So working with cameras is an addition. It requires a lot more engagement. It means more opportunities for us. This means we're able to be more creative. I've realized that I learned something about myself and my creativity throughout this process. I can take it further. Before, it was just this bubble, but we were able to expand and bring you wonder. I think it's great. It's a good thing. Yeah, some things are restricted, technology problems, etc. I think most of us learned how to manage that over time. Putting that aside, moving forward with new ideas and innovation, with that, there are no boundaries. We have no limits. We can perform across Canada and the United States. We can engage with them. There are no limits. Wow, it's been a blessing. Yes, that's the beautiful thing about the coronavirus, making theater and art even more accessible, attracting a larger audience. I hope in the future there will still be physical theater happening in person while simultaneously being able to record the show to be shared online. I hope there can be a bigger audience reach. Fingers crossed. So you've been involved with several performances. Is there a favorite role that you've done recently? Honestly, I miss in-person performances. I like it. It's cool when everything went online, of course, but it's different because the audience has been replaced with cameras and the crew. Only a few people are in the room, socially distanced. I feel it's very vacant in that space. The recent show I've done was live, in person, and recorded to be shared online. It was a combination of both approaches. It was really cool because we've created two versions of the show. One version is for in-person audiences, and the other version is for the camera. How we perform in person is different from how we perform for the camera. For example, with an audience, we need to use up more of our energy as we use our bodies to show physical visibility in performance. We need to emphasize our facial expressions so it's explicit to them. On camera, exaggerated expressions can give off a different message. Some parts would be more serious or sad, which means exaggerated facial expressions on camera looks like comedy, which isn't a fit. For an in-person audience, showing exaggerated expressions works, just not for the camera. That's how we've had to modify. That experience gave me ideas of how I can improve my performance with new strategies. So that's what I really love, being in that role and experiencing the process itself. Being involved with the theater world, yeah, but I'm really all about the process. I love being part of the process when something new comes up and it's a learning experience. I love that. That's amazing. What was that play called? That play that I mentioned, I work with Art Home number 5. The show was shared in Winnipeg. I worked with Joanna Hawkins. It was a full performance, mime, physical comedy, etc. The point of that story is shared from a child's experience with deaf parents with a deaf baby. There are shared experiences. In the story, there was a profound impact from the flashbacks and trauma shared. Are the parents' experiences the same as the baby's? How can we inspire the baby to be a better person for the future? We created this heartfelt story for audiences to go on this journey where shared experiences aren't always positive ones, and there are cons to that experience. That's totally normal. It's an emotional journey as parents, knowing that they want the best for their baby. There are 2 parts to the story. The first part I've just shared is my part. The second part was taking up the role of a flower, representing the deaf parent's journey with growth through relationships, love, positive encouragement, which creates a strong, affirming identity as a person, regardless of their upbringing, allowing them to thrive. So that's what the performance is all about. Do you have any future goals as a deaf artist? A goal of mine is to create more stories for audiences to enjoy. I believe that we do have stories that are worthy of sharing. If we don't share, then we won't know those stories. Sharing by showing our experiences, feelings, and how we view the world. Don't be afraid to share. To be vulnerable, it requires sharing. Show us love, fear, and all the emotions. So yeah, I want to show more stories. I look forward to more of your stories. Thank you. Do you have any advice for deaf people who want to become an artist? For anyone who has goals in their life, my advice is do it. You don't have to wait till it's perfect. Show what you got. In turn, when you make mistakes now, you will improve and you'll achieve that perfection. Otherwise, how do we learn and do better? Make mistakes now, give things a try, adapt. I previously shared about how 100 Decibels work together with our stories and ideas through performance. We've adapted certain things when it didn't work to create something better. It applies to any format of art. You gotta experiment, explore, and most important of all, be open to feedback from others. If you resist feedback, then how can you improve? How can change happen? And be fearless with your creativity. Be yourself. Open up and share. Be you. That's beautiful advice. Absolutely. It's so important to be yourself and just do what you love. Go for it. That Don't hold back. Do you have any thoughts that you wish to share with the hearing world? With the hearing world, I would say it's important to be open-minded, and with any assumptions made, that's something that needs unpacking. What is your bias? What are your intentions? And how can you work with us? And yeah, there's always an ongoing discussion between the deaf and hearing worlds. How can we connect with our experiences? What do we have to offer? It's important to be respectful. Recognize our presence by not ignoring us or not minimizing our experiences. Connect with us with an open mind and engage with us. Once you cross that bridge, our ideas and creativity will create that spark. Creation can happen from that point, and again, I emphasize we can create something beautiful together by building a world together. That's something I hold close to my heart with the hearing world. Once we connect, it's amazing. Something always comes out from that spark. I love what you just said. Connection, creating, togetherness, collaboration. That's beautiful. Do you have any thoughts for the deaf community? For the deaf community, I think it's really important for us to unite, support each other, and build each other up. There's a quote, to elevate each other up. How to be the tallest building in the city. Being the tallest will inspire people to reach heights. You don't become the tallest building by tearing down other buildings. I can be the tallest building by supporting each other. I think it's important to offer that support, encourage each other, inspire each other. In many ways, it's possible. To be involved, you don't always have to be at the forefront. You can be in the same place as other leaders, or you could even be behind the scenes. There are many levels of support. That's where we have to learn. Be humble. If someone succeeds, we cheer them on, showing support. That's how we build each other up. I love that metaphor that you just shared. I've never seen that metaphor before, but I like it. Standing tall, elevating others, building each other up. I like that. Thank you, Jordan, for participating in this interview and for being a part of the Deaf What Legacy Project. I also want to acknowledge the Canada Council of the Arts for funding this project. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thank you again for this. I enjoyed chatting with you. Yes, it's nice seeing you again. Take care.